Hello, this is Brent Gregory with the practice set assignment, part B. If you go to the instructions tab, and you'll see down the bottom that the information from part A you need to use to prepare the unadjusted trial balance. Then to complete the worksheet, including all the adjusting and closing entries. And after that, you'll need to prepare the full set of financial statements and then close off the accounts. Now, this will require you to post all the journal entries for the adjustments, and then after you've prepared the financial statements, to post all the journals for the closing entries. Let's see how we'll get started on this. So we'll get started, we'll go to the tab called Trial Balance. And on this tab, Trial Balance, this has also got the work balance. Well, you started there. You get all the information from the general ledger and you summarise it. Cash at bank, account 101, and the balance is 305,500. So cash at bank 100, 305,500. Now, these accounts, clearly they're not labelled, but clearly the debits come to the left and the credits to the right. So then you'll go back and find the next item. Now you might find it a lot easier just to print this off so you can copy the items across. Next, notes receivable 102, 40,000. So we have notes receivable, account 102, and the balance is 40,000, and that will be a debit. So we go, it's receivable, account 102, balance 40,000. And I guess fairly obviously, the next item is accounts receivable. It's account number 103, and its balance is $123,160. So we go accounts receivable 103, and its balance is 123,160. Better check that to make sure that's what it was. 123,160. You continue on with this process until you fill up this page. You may have a line spare, and you'll have some debits, some credits, and you'll balance that to get your debits equaling your credits. The next step is to do the adjustments, and you have 5 adjustments, and you find that from helpful information. So when you get there, I'd like to point out, firstly, we have 2 changes. So these are the adjusting entries required at the end of the month, the 30th of the 6th, 2010, and the office supplies is as at the 30th of June 2010, totaling 4,000. Previously there it had the end of May. Now we're doing the adjustments. This is at the end of June. So it tells you what supplies you have in your storeroom or at the 30th of June 2010. You can see there's 5 adjustments there, and we'll call them A, B, C, D and E. So what will happen for the adjustment? Well, for office supplies, let's have a look. Is we go 104, 120, 130 is office supplies. Let's be down here. 104, 120 and 130 is office supplies. Now the balance, $10,000. 10,000 debit. Now this indicates to us that the for opening office supplies we had an opening balance, then we had purchases, and that's a total of $10,000. That could have been in our storeroom. Now, at the end of the month, we've had a look and we've got 4,000 left. So that means we've used up $6,000 worth of office supplies. So if we've got 6,000 we've used up, this will be debit to the expense of office supplies, which will be down towards the bottom somewhere. Well, let me have a look. Well, I won't have a look. Well, somewhere down here we'll have an account, office supplies, and it's probably got no balance. But now it's going to have a debit of $6,000 because that's our expense for office supplies. And credit to office supplies on hand. Now we'll call this the reference, is A, and we go down the bottom and the reference to this is A. Now let me point out that this one is probably not in the right position, but it's about there somewhere. So you do that for each of your adjustments, and there's 5 of them. Now remember, one other thing I did point out to you, have a look at the discussion board, because there's, I think, a reasonably good explanation there of how the office supplies expense works. So then you've done all your adjustments and you prepare your adjusted trial balance. Now, how does that work? Well, you add all the debits in the trial balance to the debits in the adjustments and deduct the credits. So in the case of office supplies, we've got office supplies, 10,000 debit, we've got a credit of 6,000, so we'll end up with 4,000 adjusted trial balance. Now, what does that mean? We've now got $4,000 worth of office supplies on hand. And if we check that back to our stock take, that's what we had, $4,000 worth of office supplies. Now, you go and do all the adjustments, add that up, and you'll get an adjusted trial balance. Now, the next step is to prepare the financial statements in here. And let me just assume for the moment that there's no other adjustments on these items down here, but there could be. So our trial balance, well, we take all the debits from over here, and then we get down to the credits, and that will be a summary of our balance sheet, and we'll do the same for our revenue statement or the income statement. So we'll take all the, well, firstly we'll come up with credits, because that will be the income, then debits for the expenses. And we'll have the total of the debits and the total of the credits. Now hopefully the credits will be higher than the debits, and because the difference will go in there. That will be our profit. Then over here we'll have the debits and the credits, and hopefully the debits will be higher than the credits, and the difference will be the same amount here, will be the increase in owner's equity. So effectively what's going to happen, and this happens in the closing, that we transfer the net profit into our owner's equity account. Then we can balance the items off there. The only one item that will be a bit of an issue will be drawings, and in a sense you have different choices of where to put drawings. Probably the ideal is to put drawings in the balance sheet. You won't be marked wrong if you put it in the balance sheet, or if you put it in the income statement, or if you put it down the bottom, but put it in the balance sheet. Your next step is really then to go back and, with regard to your adjustments, actually do the general journal entries. So adjustments to the general journal, adjustments. So first item, trial balance, it's going to be debit office supplies expense, credit office supplies on hand. So debit office supplies expense, credit office supplies on hand. We know this one is account number, well we don't, and the amount is 6,000. Being office supplies used for the period as per working paper 1. We haven't done a working paper for this, but in practice you'll probably do a working paper. Now you do that for each one, then you'll need to post these items. So I just post office supplies on hand, general ledger, office supplies on hand. Where I've gone too far down, office supplies. So this will be June 30, June 30 adjustment G5, I think it'll be G5. $6,000 credit. Therefore, the balance will be 4,000, and the balance be 4,000. Now that's account 130. We can go back to the general journal now and put we've posted that item to 130. Now you do that for all your adjustments. You updated general ledger. Now you'll be right to prepare the financial statements. So again, your name up here, sales revenue would be sales, and that would come from your trial balance. Somewhere down here there'll be items for your sales, unless, well, there will be your contra accounts related to sales. And how will you know what your contra accounts related to sales are? Well, any number of places really, but we'll go back to our chart of accounts. So sales, there'll be sales returns and allowances, bad debt expense, and discount allowed. So in here we'll have the sales, returns and allowances, allowance for bad debts and discount allowed. So we'll need to find the amounts for those, and then we'll have sales less the contra items for sales gives us our net sales. Then we'll come down here to our gross profit, less any contra items related to gross profit will give us our, we come down here to cost of goods sold. Then we do our calculations, come to our gross profit, and then our expenses. Then we move on to the balance sheet, and that should be reasonably straightforward. Again, you can take these items pretty much straight off your workbook. That's where these items will come from. Then when all of that's done, you will need to make sure that your equity here equals your equity as per your changes in equity, and therefore it balances. Your final step will be come back to the general journal and do your closing entries. Bye.